Hello, my dear students. Again, Vishnu sir has come with a new topic in continuation of the last one, and the topic is direct method of teaching English, which is also known as the natural method. In our university exam, direct questions are being asked. Questions like that: what is direct method, or what do you mean by a direct method? Write the merits and demerits of direct method. Now let us continue. The direct method occupies an important place amongst the various methods of teaching English. This method relies on giving practical knowledge of English language to the students. Direct method stress on oral work and correct pronunciation, discarding the complexities of grammar and learning of words by cramming, in practice as well as in theory. This method is very different from translation method. In the beginning, translation method was very much employed. That method had many defects. In order to do away with these drawbacks and remove the defects, direct method has brought before us. This method came as a reaction of translation cum grammar method. It is also known as a natural method or reformed method. This method originated in France in 1901. From Germany came its principles, and this method was approved and spread by International Phonetic Association of France. It is based on this philosophy. Fluency in reading and facility in writing follow fluency in speech. Kitson says, to quote, "Learning to speak a language is always by far the shortest road to learning and to write it." Unquote. At the international level, the period between 1915 and 1955 saw the growth of the direct method under the influence of Henry Sweet, Michael West, who worked in India and produced his new method series and other books in the 1920s and 1930s. Harold Palmer, P.C. Wren, Otto Jespersen, and others like Champion. There was widespread dissatisfaction with the grammar translation method, which was no method but a kind of bilingual work with focus on grammar and literature. According to Champion, quote, "The direct method is a method of teaching English directly. To teach English directly is to establish a direct or immediate association between experience and expression, between the English word, phrase, or idiom and its meaning. In other words, to establish a connection with the English, the same habit of direct expression of experience as it exists in the use of the mother tongue." Unquote. In the words of Webster New International Dictionary, the definition is, within quote, "Direct method is a method of teaching foreign language, especially in a modern language, through conversion, discussion, and reading in the language itself, without use of pupils' language, without translation, and without the study of formal grammar. The first words are taught by pointing to objects or pictures or performing actions." Unquote. According to H. E. Palmer, in his English Through Accents, direct method has the following features. Number 1. Translation in every shape or form is banished from the classroom, including the use of mother tongue and of the bilingual dictionary. Number 2. Grammar, when it is taught inductively. Number 3. Oral teaching precedes any form of reading and writing. Number 4. The use of disconnected sentences is replaced by the use of connected texts. Number 5. Pronunciation is taught systematically on a more or less phonetic lines. Number 6. The meanings of words and forms are taught by means of objects or by natural context. And number 7. The vocabulary and structure of the language are inculcated to a large extent by questions asked by the teacher and answered by the pupils. Thus, we see that the direct method aims at establishing a direct bond between thought and expression, experience and language. The idea is that the learner should experience the new language in the same way which he experienced his mother tongue. In the translation method, we know that the foreign concept or idea is first translated into the mother tongue and then understood. But in the direct method, the intervention of the mother tongue is done away with. The learner understands when he hears or reads in the foreign language without thinking of the mother tongue equivalents. Likewise, he speaks or writes the foreign language without the need of translating his idea or thought from the mother tongue into the foreign language. He begins to think in the new language as efficiently and fluently as he does in the case of his mother tongue. He acquires what Champion calls it, within inverted comma, instinctive, unerring language sense, which we all possess in varying degree in the mother tongue, and which superseding all rules, grammars and dictionaries, resting at bottom on the direct association between experience and expression, is the only sure guide in the use of language. Unquote. It was realized that the foreign language should be learnt as the child learns his or her own mother tongue. The mother tongue is learnt in a natural environment where the learner experiences what he learns. When the mother asks the child, "इस प्याले में दूध पियो," I am repeating, "इस प्याले में दूध पियो," she is not telling the meaning of pyala. Instead, the child himself interprets that the thing which is containing milk is pyala. In this way, an association is formed between word meaning and the child's experience of the cup. If we teach English by making associations between word and experience of the learner without the help of the mother tongue, that is called direct or natural method. For instance, the teacher wants to teach the meaning of "I am cheating." He should not tell the students its meaning in the mother tongue, but by sitting himself or asking the students to sit. So I think this is enough about the concept of or the definition of direct method. Now, this method has got some principles. The principles of the direct method are: number 1, oral training. Direct method emphasizes the value of oral training in learning in a foreign language. The pupil is provided sufficient practice in listening to the language and then speaking it. It also lays emphasis on a knowledge of phonetics to acquire an intelligible pronunciation. Oral training helps in the direct association of the words of the foreign language with the objects and ideas for which they stand. Number 2. Inhibition of the mother tongue. Another way of securing a direct bond between experience and expression is to inhibit the mother tongue. That is to say, so far as possible, the mother tongue is not used in an English lesson. The pupils are taught now new words by actually showing them the objects for which they stand, or performing accents, or by suitable instruction in context. This enables the pupils to think in English, and they learn to respond directly in the foreign language. Now, number 3. The sentence is the unit of speech. In direct method, sentence is the unit of speech. Here, every sentence is a means of expressing ideas. In other words, it means that when many sentences are joined together, we have a group of thoughts, and the sentences go on getting joined. The expression goes on increasing. Now, number 4th principle, inductive teaching of grammar. In direct method, there is no room for theoretical teaching of grammar. Here, grammar is not taught for its own sake. It is not an end in itself, but a means to an end. Its aim is to enable the pupil to correct errors. Grammar is taught inductively. First, the pupils learn the language and then the various grammatical forms. Number 5th, teaching new vocabulary. New vocabulary is taught after careful selection and gradation. Controlled vocabulary is taught in definite stages. New words are taught by material association, explanation, or are used in a suitable context. So these are the principles of direct method. Just like in translation cum grammar method, there are some merits and demerits. Similarly, the direct method has also its own merits and demerits also. So first we'll discuss about the merits of the direct method. The direct method has replaced translation cum grammar method because it has the following merits. Number 1, the direct method covers some main aims of English teaching. According to Champion, they are: number 1, to make people to think in English. Number 2, to enable people to express his thoughts and feeling directly by means of English without the intervention of his mother tongue. Number C, to enable the pupil to acquire the ability to grasp the sense of what he hears or reads in English as he grasps it in his mother tongue. D, besides, it teaches language in the same way in which the child learns his mother tongue. The language is taught through demonstration and conversation in context. Now, number 2, merit. Since direct method lays a stress on speech, pupils acquire fluency in speech. They think directly in English without the intervention of the mother tongue. They are quick at understanding spoken English. They also have good pronunciation. Pupils who are taught through this method converse in English with great facility. Number 3, since language is taught through demonstration, direct method makes use of audio-visual aids. The use of these aids facilitates learning and makes lessons interesting. Now, number fourth, since pupils can speak fluently, they also write fairly, quickly, and correctly. They also acquire a love for reading the language. According to Champion, the direct method makes the reading of English literature easy. Now, the next merit. Some scholars are of the view that this method not only makes the study of literature easy but also develops interest for it. So these are some of the merits of direct method. Now let us see some of the demerits of the direct method. Some of the scholars like P. Garre and Dr. West do not regard it a method. They think it a principle only which can be used along with some method. Following are the demerits of direct method. So number one, the direct method is not a complete method as it lays more emphasis on speech training and other aspects of language learning like reading and writing do not receive due attention. It has been found that the pupils who are otherwise good at speaking commit many spelling mistakes in their writing. Number two, someone has rightly said that direct method suits only smart teachers and smart pupils. The pity of the matter is that most of the English teachers in our country or also in our state have themselves got a very defective pronunciation of English. Their own knowledge of the language is not so rich that they can handle the classes through this method. Sometimes it is found that the teachers wants to convey some meaning and the students assimilate a quite different meaning. Number three demerit. The direct method suits only those students who are linguistically minded, as its basic principle is that the oral approach is stronger than the visual in learning of foreign language. But since it is not true in case of all the pupils, the direct method does not succeed with them. Number four demerit. Of the four ways of explaining the meanings of words, namely material association, translation, definition, and context, direct method ignores translation completely, which at times can be really easy and time saving for explanation. Next, this method is very expensive because a lot of audiovisual material is needed. In the context of Jharkhand, our state, we find there is a dearth of these audiovisual materials. Now next point, there are certain other conditions which must be fulfilled for success of the direct method. Since the method demands individual attention, the size of the class should not be large because for an overcrowded class, this method is inconvenient. Next, we cannot teach second and foreign language like our mother tongue because, in the words of Henry Sweet, in his book The Practical Study of Language, he says, in learning our own language, we begin young and we give our whole time to it. Our minds are perfect blanks and we come to it with all our faculties fresh and unknown. Unquote. Due to all these demerits and defects, direct method has failed to yield desirable result. Menon and Patel say, to quote, the direct method was tried in India for a number of years, but it failed to yield the expected dividends in terms of children's progress. Unquote. It has been found that this method is more suitable for students of early stage, but not at higher stage. Direct method, no doubt, suffers from various weaknesses and drawbacks, but it has certain strong points as well. It has produced good results in the teaching of English and should therefore be applied in lower classes. Thank you. Again, in the next class, I will come with a new topic. Thanks again.